costing 3 times more than common red crab. Blue crab, one of the most difficult crustaceans to harvest in brackish waters, captivates millions of discerning food lovers thanks to its naturally sweet, firm whole muscle meat. So how can humans harvest hundreds of thousands of tons of blue crab each year? The journey begins in wild brackish waters, where blue crabs grow in constantly fluctuating environments. They are harvested only after their shells have fully mineralized, then rapidly chilled and processed to maintain the stability of the meat structure. From there, blue crabs are packed and sold whole and fresh, or sent directly into meat picking and canning lines, with prices ranking among the highest in the commercial brackish water seafood category. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we explore the full journey behind blue crab and the secrets that have turned it into the blue gold of the U.S. seafood industry. Let's begin. No species of crab bears a scientific name as self-assured as the blue crab, Calonectes sapidus, which literally means the skillful and savory swimmer. And reality proves it. Ranging from coastal shallows to muddy bottoms as deep as 300 feet, blue crabs swim sideways at remarkable speed thanks to their paddle-shaped rear legs, enabling sudden bursts of acceleration and near-instant directional changes. With long front claws and sharp edges, they are especially effective predators of mollusks. In Chesapeake Bay, the largest brackish lagoon system in the United States, blue crabs generate $300 million each year, sustaining thousands of watermen through a traditional fishing livelihood rooted across generations. Compared with red crabs, the blue crab's advantage is most evident after processing. A high meat yield, stable lean protein content, firm yet tender texture, and low loss rates, factors that determine its superior commercial value. Yet behind that appealing quality, blue crabs are in fact difficult to domesticate. They are cannibalistic and molt on average more than 20 times within a short lifespan of just 3 to 4 years. For this reason, nearly all commercial blue crabs today still come from wild capture, because only large, constantly dynamic environments can adequately disperse individuals, disrupt synchronized molting cycles, and preserve survival rates. So what happens during each molting cycle that turns blue crab farming into such a high-risk gamble? Blue crabs do not grow by gradually expanding within their old shells. Instead, they must completely shed their mineralized exoskeleton to create space for their bodies to develop. Before molting, a blue crab pumps water into its body, increasing internal pressure until the rear edge of the carapace, the fixed weak point in its biological structure, splits open. In just about 10 minutes, the crab withdraws its head and pulls out each leg and claw, leaving behind an almost perfectly intact shell. Male blue crabs mate with females immediately after the females have molted, the only moment when the shell is still soft. Afterward, the females carry their eggs and migrate offshore into saltwater to spawn. Each individual can produce millions of eggs, but only a tiny fraction survive and return to brackish waters to reach adulthood. From May onward, rising water temperatures awaken the entire brackish ecosystem, ushering blue crabs into the most intensive harvesting season of the year. Before heading out to sea, bait is prepared simply but effectively. Chicken meat or low-value fish, cheap protein sources with strong odors that suit the blue crab's scavenging behavior and crawling for food reflex. The bait is placed inside square bottom set traps, the primary fishing gear of the commercial blue crab industry. The square shape allows the trap to remain stable on soft mud. One-way funnel entrances guide crabs inward while preventing escape, and the interior space is large enough to keep crabs alive while minimizing claw damage. Thanks to this design, each trap can yield 1 to 3 kilograms of crab per day, and a single vessel may operate from several hundred to over 1,000 traps, generating a large yet steady supply for live crab and soft-shell crab markets. However, blue crab harvesting is not confined solely to peak season. As water temperatures fall, crabs become less active and remain close to the seabed, reducing the effectiveness of fixed traps. To take advantage of this transitional period, light bottom trawling is permitted within very limited time windows due to the risk of crab injury and direct impacts on benthic habitats. Alongside large-scale harvesting zones, blue crabs are still found close to shore, especially around river mouths and shallow lagoons. In long-established brackish water communities, residents simply follow the tidal rhythm, setting traps near the shoreline for 2 to 4 hours per cycle to collect live blue crabs. These catches often move directly from the landing site to family meals or local markets the same day, tightly linking crab fishing with the everyday rhythm of life in brackish coastal communities. Leaving the highly dynamic brackish waters, a portion of blue crabs is transported directly to processing plants within just a few hours, where every handling step must race against time. At the plant, the first step is icing and rapid chilling to suppress cellular respiration and enzymatic activity, key factors that preserve meat firmness, maintain natural sweetness, and minimize value loss throughout the cold chain. Not every individual is eligible to enter this processing line. Commercial-grade blue crabs typically require a carapace width of at least 5 inches, as only at this size does the meat yield sufficiently offset the costs of processing, transportation, and cold storage, ensuring economic efficiency across the entire operation. On the whole crab processing line, chilled crabs are transferred to the packaging area, where they are graded, non-conforming individuals are removed, and the remaining crabs are arranged in plastic trays. The crabs are then placed in a freezing chamber until the core temperature reaches approximately 18 degrees Celsius, ensuring complete freezing. Afterward, a glazing layer forms on the crab's surface to reduce moisture loss and oxidation. The crabs are finally packaged, arranged vertically, and secured to prevent damage during transportation and cold storage. In some processing facilities serving rapid consumption, boiled green crabs are also sprinkled with dry seasoning during packaging, allowing the product to be prepared immediately after opening and meeting on-site cooking habits. However, in order to extend shelf life and expand export markets, green crabs are further processed through advanced processing in the form of canned crab products. In the canned green crab processing procedure, immediately upon arrival at the factory, green crabs are placed into heat-resistant steel baskets and fully boiled for a short duration, typically 8 to 12 minutes, which is sufficient to coagulate proteins without causing excessive meat shrinkage. After boiling, the crabs are rapidly cooled using cold water and rinsed preliminarily to remove dirt and coagulated protein residues remaining on the surface before officially entering the carapace removal process. At this stage, the crab shells, gills, and other inedible parts are removed, while the meat remains inside the body in preparation for subsequent processing steps. In some factories, after removal of the carapace and inedible parts, the crabs are placed in metal trays and subjected to short-time steam heating in a sealed unit to maintain material temperature, reduce surface microbial contamination, and facilitate meat picking. This optional step depends on the production conditions and hygiene requirements of each facility. Meanwhile, in most factories, the meat picking process is carried out directly after the crabs have undergone preliminary heat treatment and cooling, without necessarily passing through the short-time heating step. This is the most important stage in the entire process, including meat picking, meat classification, and placing the crab meat into cans. This stage requires a high level of skill and meticulous handling to maintain the integrity of the meat structure, minimize shell fragments, and ensure the sensory quality of the product. Workers use specialized tools to pick the meat and place it directly into cans according to the appropriate meat grades. To ensure hygiene and food safety, workers are required to wear protective gloves and strictly comply with personal hygiene regulations throughout the operation. At the working speed of a skilled worker, approximately 10 to 15 crabs per hour can be processed, corresponding to 8 to 12 cans of crab meat, with a weight of approximately 150 to 200 grams per can, depending on crab size and meat yield. Crab meat is placed into pre-labeled metal cans or plastic containers, arranged neatly, and each container is weighed to ensure compliance with the specified product weight. Subsequently, all filled containers are transferred to the seaming area, where they are sealed using a seaming machine to ensure complete airtightness and prevent the ingress of microorganisms from the external environment. Immediately afterward, the products are sterilized at appropriate temperatures and durations to ensure food safety and extend the shelf life of the canned blue crab meat products. After sterilization, the containers are rapidly cooled, dried, and inspected for appearance and seal integrity before being packed into cartons. Products that meet the requirements are stored under appropriate conditions, ready for warehousing, transportation, and distribution. On the market, an 8-ounce container of pasteurized blue crab meat typically ranges from USD 25 to 40, approximately twice the price of an Atlantic salmon fillet of the same weight and approaching the price level of medium-sized frozen lobster tails. However, for professional chefs, this price is considered justified for a convenient ingredient that is best suited for dishes prioritizing the preservation of meat structure and minimizing intense heat treatment, in order to directly experience the distinctive natural sweetness of crab. Blue crab meat is not as rich or densely textured as king crab, nor does it deliver an immediate sense of luxury from the first bite. Its distinct value lies instead in a clean, delicate sweetness, with fine, moderately firm fibers that melt gradually and naturally, as if the flavor unfolds with each chew rather than bursting all at once. In the culinary culture of the Chesapeake Bay region, blue crabs are commonly steamed whole with the iconic Old Bay seasoning blend, a balanced mixture of celery salt, paprika, black pepper, and dried herbs. Diners crack the claws, lift the shell, and pick out strands of meat while still warm. The experience therefore places little emphasis on technique, focusing instead on the direct tactile interaction between hand and crab meat, where the sweetness is most pronounced when the crab is just cooked through, its structure intact and its moisture fully retained. When picked, blue crab reveals a rare quality. The meat holds its shape well, yet remains tender when bitten. This explains why Maryland crab cakes use minimal binders. A proper crab cake does not rely on heavy breading or excessive eggs. It uses just enough to hold the meat together so that when pan-seared, the exterior sets lightly, while the interior stays airy and loose, neither dense nor crumbly. To create a finished piece of stockfish, time matters more than any technology. Fresh cod must be hung outdoors for 3 to 5 months, then left to further mature so its flavor can fully develop. This harsh process reduces 5 kilograms of fresh fish to just 1 kilogram of stockfish. Each piece a crystallization of loss and patience. In its dried state, stockfish is almost wood-like, impossible to cook immediately. It must be soaked in water for days to awaken the structure of the flesh. Once revived, it becomes a nutrient-dense food, rich in protein and minerals, having sustained sailors on long voyages across icy oceans for centuries. Today, stockfish has moved far beyond its role as survival food. In Italy, especially in Venice and the Veneto region, it is a prized ingredient in traditional cuisine. In Africa, particularly Nigeria, stockfish is revered as a powerful umami seasoning. deeply woven into everyday cooking. At present, premium stockfish can reach prices of up to $150 per kilogram, rivaling or even surpassing Alaskan king crab. This price reflects a clear market paradox: limited supply paired with ever-growing value. Stockfish exports alone generate nearly $85 million, transforming a seemingly humble dried fish into a global luxury commodity. The answer to the high price of stockfish begins with the Arctic Scray cod season, a migration of more than 1,000 kilometers from the Barents Sea to Norway's coastal waters, and one of the few moments each year when the fish reaches peak quality. At this stage, Scray cod has a high lean meat ratio, low fat content, and muscle fibers firm enough to withstand natural air drying. The core fishing season starts in early spring and lasts only 3 to 4 months, forcing vessels to head out continuously. Miss this narrow window and the cod moves past its ideal biological phase. Muscle tissue retains more water and becomes unsuitable for long-term drying. As the schools arrive near shore to spawn, fishermen enter the season using 2 traditional methods. The most common is gill netting, nets suspended in the water column and anchored along ocean currents. Cod are typically caught horizontally by the gills, minimizing body impact against the net and reducing surface damage during hauls that can last dozens of continuous hours. The second method is long lining, lines stretching several kilometers and fitted with thousands of hooks. While yields are lower, each fish is hauled up individually along a vertical axis, avoiding compression. Reduced mechanical stress prevents skin abrasion, blood pooling within muscle fibers, and structural damage, critical conditions for enduring more than 100 days of wind drying. All of this takes place in the volatile Arctic seas. On calm days, a small fishing vessel may land 1 to 3 tons of cod. On others, boats return empty-handed due to strong winds, heavy swells, or shifting fish stocks. It is precisely this uncertainty that has kept stockfish from ever becoming a mass-market product. Yet it has endured for centuries, sustained by perfect timing, careful harvesting, and a measure of luck granted by the sea itself. But the catch is only half the journey. Right on the deck, as the cod are hauled up from the icy depths, a small hand processing line is already in motion. In temperatures hovering around -4 degrees Celsius, the fishermen work tirelessly amid the biting wind and spray. Each voyage brings in over 15 tons of cod, and every fish is handled immediately on site, usually by cutting the gills or making a shallow incision near the neck to drain the blood. This quick treatment helps preserve the freshness, stabilize the pH of the flesh, and prevent bacterial growth throughout the long, restless hours at sea. When the vessel docks, crates of cod are immediately transferred to the processing plant by the harbor. The chill of the sea still clings to their scales as they move along the first conveyor line, a short 50-meter path linking the ocean straight to the cutting tables. Here, the full processing begins. Each fish is beheaded, gutted, and cleaned with swift, precise strokes. Skilled workers use slender knives, slicing diagonally along the belly to open the cavity without rupturing the gallbladder or intestines, preserving the fish's clean flavor and bright flesh. Each worker can process up to 1,200 fish during an 8-hour shift, a rhythm sustained only by years of experience and muscle memory. The entrails are removed in a single decisive motion, halting internal decay, and the fish are then rinsed in seawater, chilled to 2 degrees Celsius to stabilize the texture. From there, they're laid on racks or sent to drying, freezing, or salting rooms, depending on the final product. The entire process takes only a few minutes. Yet every precise cut determines the quality of the catch that will become premium stockfish, celebrated across Northern Europe as the purest taste of the cold sea. From this point, the journey of stockfish enters its defining stage, the moment when its true value takes shape in a way no other dried fish can replicate. After processing, thousands of cod are hung outdoors on vast wooden racks, stretching for nearly 300 meters along the Lofoten shoreline, where the cold North Atlantic wind blows day and night. The drying frames are engineered with precision. Sturdy A-shaped beams disperse wind pressure and weight, while the high, open crossbars allow ocean air to circulate freely around each hanging pair, ensuring a natural yet meticulously controlled drying process. Because the body and head dry at different rates, they are hung separately, but all follow the same traditional posture, head down, belly open, allowing gravity to draw out moisture evenly. Over the course of 2,800 hours, with air temperatures rarely rising above 5 degrees Celsius and humidity hovering around 70%, the fish gradually dry from the inside out without ever spoiling. The muscle fibers tighten, proteins and collagen fuse together, forming a dense, elastic texture, the secret that allows stockfish to keep naturally for more than 3 years without a grain of salt or any preservative. When the fish reach their equilibrium point, reduced to roughly 1/3 of their original weight, they are moved into curing lofts to lock in moisture balance and flavor. Under the pale northern light, thousands of white cod hang in rows like an inverted forest swaying in the wind, monumental yet silent, marking the near completion of the journey from deep ocean to Norway's most revered delicacy, the legendary stockfish. When the drying season ends, the stockfish harvest begins. Along the long rows of wooden racks by the coast, hundreds of workers move in rhythm, carefully taking down each pair of cod hardened by months of wind and salt. By this stage, each fish has lost nearly 3/4 of its original weight, the body firm, the flesh translucent like amber. A light tap produces a crisp knock, the unmistakable sign that the fish has reached perfect dryness. The harvest continues for 7 to 10 days, from dawn until the last light fades behind the snow-covered peaks. On site, the fish are sorted by size, color, and dryness, before being moved to storage for final stabilization. The finest batches, pale, evenly dried, and silky in texture, are marked for export to Italy, Portugal, and Japan, where stockfish is regarded as a culinary emblem of the northern seas. And so, each season, nearly 2 million cod are taken down from the racks across the Lofoten Islands, completing the long, disciplined cycle of the cold sea. After leaving the outdoor racks, stockfish is still not considered a finished product. It is moved into curing lofts for another 2 to 3 months to complete the moisture balancing stage. Here, the residual water within the flesh doesn't evaporate abruptly but slowly migrates from the core to the surface, allowing the texture to stabilize, preventing cracking, off flavors, and preserving the integrity of aroma compounds for years, the key to its remarkable shelf life without salt or preservatives. Even within the same batch, curing times can vary by several weeks due to the natural biological differences among individual fish. Although the surface may appear dry, slow-forming internal mold can still occur. For this reason, stockfish is inspected regularly by hand and scent, a traditional yet highly precise method, perfected through generations of experience. Only after passing this final stage does the stockfish qualify for export to key markets such as Italy and Nigeria, completing the journey of a dried fish that has become a true heritage craft. When it enters the kitchen, stockfish is no longer a convenient food, but an ingredient that demands knowledge and patience. Its almost 100% dryness means every dish must begin with rehydration. The fish is soaked in cold water for several days, sometimes combined with mechanical pounding, to reopen the protein fibers before cooking. Once revived, the flesh of stockfish gains a unique density and elasticity, offering depth and character far beyond that of fresh or salted fish. This makes it especially suited for slow-cooked stews, where gentle heat and long simmering gradually unfold the proteins, creating a clean, deep, and lingering umami flavor. In Italy and Norway, stockfish often appears in slow-simmered stews with tomatoes, onions, olive oil, or light broths that highlight the purity of the fish. Meanwhile, variations pairing stockfish with potatoes are popular across northern Italy and Scandinavia, where starch softens its chew and balances its intensity, producing dishes that are simple yet remarkably profound in flavor. Yet, when it comes to dried cod in European cuisine, stockfish is often mistaken for bacalhau, the soul of Portuguese cooking. Both share the same origins, North Atlantic cod and the ancient need to preserve protein for long voyages at sea. But they diverge at the most fundamental element, salt. Bacalhau is built on salt. Immediately after the catch, the cod is split lengthwise along the backbone, keeping the skin and central bone intact to maintain its shape during drying. The fish is then packed layer by layer in coarse sea salt, stored in chilled cellars for 10 to 20 days, allowing the salt to draw out moisture and replace it with a natural brine, a process known as salga. Afterward, the fish is rinsed to remove excess salt and then air or oven dried at 15 degrees Celsius until the moisture content drops to about 50%. The result is a fish with a softer texture, pronounced salinity, and a gentle chew, perfectly suited to Mediterranean cooking, where salt, olive oil, and garlic form the flavor's foundation. Over centuries, bacalhau has become endlessly adaptable. The centerpiece of dishes like bacalhau à bras with eggs and potatoes, bacalhau com natas in cream sauce, or the traditional bacalhau à gomes de sauce stew. When the herring season begins around March to April each year, fleets of vessels from Alaska's major ports head out to the rich fishing grounds, where hundreds of tons of herring gather into massive shimmering schools. Herring are known for swimming in dense, synchronized formations, the perfect condition for fishermen to deploy purse seine nets, stretching for kilometers, woven from high-tensile nylon and buoyed by floats, capable of enclosing an entire school within minutes. As the net closes, the fish move instinctively, pressing together toward the center in one unified motion. At the signal, the hydraulic winch system roars to life, hauling the massive ton-heavy net up onto the deck. The herring are funneled together, sliding up the hull under water pressure and the pull of the drum, a living river of silver. Moments later, powerful suction pumps are activated, drawing thousands of fish continuously into refrigerated storage tanks. There, the processing begins immediately. Fishermen collect female herring roe, then send it straight down deep freezing conveyors below 0 degrees, preserving the fragile nutrients that would otherwise degrade at normal temperatures. On a good day, each vessel can haul in around 200 tons of herring in just a few hours, worth up to $1 million per trip. At the height of the season, that figure can double, helping Alaska's fleets generate hundreds of millions of dollars annually. A colossal pillar of the U.S. fishing industry and the global seafood supply chain. Across the Caribbean Sea, the world's largest lobster harvesting region, more than 1 million lobster traps are deployed each year. At depths reaching 40 meters, the traps are arranged in a precise network. Each trap holds a plastic bait cage filled with chopped fish or squid. The slow diffusion of scent lures lobsters inside, trapping them in narrow chambers with one-way entrances. Everything is secured with salt-resistant polypropylene ropes, connected to GPS-marked buoys. so that vessels can return to the exact location after 24 to 36 hours. When it's time to haul them up, crews work swiftly, sorting the catch, releasing undersized lobsters and females carrying eggs, strictly adhering to sustainable fishing regulations. The lobsters that meet the standards are immediately chilled in circulating seawater tanks, keeping a 98% survival rate. The key secret behind Caribbean spiny lobsters: premium status, fetching 3 times the price of those caught and frozen by conventional methods. While lobster traps yield large harvests, they cause significant damage to coral reefs, where metal frames and anchor lines can break coral branches, stir up sediment, and destroy the nurseries of young lobsters. That's why in the Florida Keys, fishermen turn to a different method: manual diving, an ocean-friendly approach that relies entirely on human skill and endurance instead of machinery. Divers descend to depths of 15 to 25 meters, searching for Florida spiny lobsters hiding deep within coral crevices. Armed with a tickle stick, a slender metal rod with a gently curved tip, they carefully nudge the lobster from behind, coaxing it out of its den without breaking its antennae or scratching its shell. Each movement demands perfect reflexes and thousands of hours of training. One mistake in the crushing pressure of the deep can mean disaster. Though laborious and less productive, hand diving yields the finest catch: lobsters uninjured, unstressed, their flesh firm, sweet, and brimming with the taste of the sea, as if freshly born from the ocean itself. Millions of polyethylene mesh cages stretch beneath the ocean surface at depths of 30 meters, nurturing hundreds of thousands of Tahitian black pearls, the most precious of all marine gems. Each oyster, with a hand-implanted nucleus of mother-of-pearl, hangs in anti-fouling baskets tethered to floating lines, absorbing mineral-rich currents that build a thick, lustrous nacre layer over nearly 2 years. At harvest time, divers descend along the rows of cages, unfastening anchors and hauling the heavy oyster clusters, each weighing dozens of kilograms, to the boats by hand. The oysters are then cleaned meticulously, scraping away algae and barnacles to prevent impurities from marring the pearl's quality. Each shell is secured with a stainless steel clamp, its mouth opened just 1 or 2 centimeters, enough for a skilled technician to reach in with precision tools, separate the tissue, and extract the pearl nestled deep within without cracking the nacre. Of the thousands harvested, only around 3% achieve perfect roundness and luster worthy of fine jewelry. The rest find new life in art, decor, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals, every pearl a fragment of the ocean's quiet perfection. From December to June, hundreds of pyramid-shaped iron traps are set along muddy waterways, turning thousands of hectares of Louisiana rice fields into the largest crawfish harvesting grounds in the world. The golden key to maintaining productivity and speed lies in specialized motorized boats, equipped with 20-horsepower gasoline engines and hydraulic paddle wheels that glide steadily across the flooded fields. Their powerful thrust lets fishermen move smoothly through the thick mud, working efficiently between trap rows and streamlining every step of the crawfish harvest. Workers lift each heavy trap, pour the wriggling crawfish onto steel sorting tables, reload bait made from grain and protein powder, and drop the trap back into the water. This process can repeat up to 1,200 times in a single morning, demanding remarkable endurance to sustain the relentless pace for hours on end. Once sorted, the crawfish are packed into mesh sacks, stacked into truck beds, and shipped out. The entire system runs like an open-air production line, perfectly synchronized between manual labor and mechanization. Each year, About 70,000 tons of crawfish are harvested, generating over $300 million for the state of Louisiana, the swampy heartland that has become a true symbol of America's seafood industry. In central China, conservation teams are racing against time to save the giant salamander, the largest amphibian on Earth, a relic species that has survived since the Jurassic era. In the cool, damp mountain streams at night, researchers carefully use soft mesh nets to capture the animals without harming their mucus-covered skin, a delicate external lung that absorbs oxygen directly from the water, yet is so fragile that even a light touch can be fatal. Once brought to the surface, each salamander is measured, tagged with an ID chip, and released exactly where it was found, the only way to monitor its genetics and population density without disturbing the ecosystem. As a top predator in mountain streams, the giant salamander plays a crucial role in maintaining ecological balance by controlling populations of small fish and insects. If it disappears, microbial levels in the water could rise by up to 40%, turning once clear streams into murky, lifeless channels within just a few rainy seasons. Salamander meat is considered a rare delicacy in some regions of China, known for its tender texture, mild sweetness, and fish-like richness, packed with collagen, protein, and natural amino acids. However, as the species faces critical endangerment, consumption has been completely banned. Instead, efforts now focus on studying its nutritional and medicinal value under controlled conservation breeding. If Japan is the mackerel processing factory of the world, responsible for about 25% of global processed mackerel output, equipped with modern production lines and a wide range of exports across 5 continents, then the United States is the consumption giant, spending billions of dollars each year to import mackerel for a market that demands high standards in quality, flavor, and nutrition. Mackerel isn't just a fast swimmer, it's a finely tuned predator of the sea. When schools of prey like sardines or shrimp enter its strike zone, mackerel swiftly join forces, spiraling into a vortex that devours everything in its path. But would you ever guess that the rich, flavorful slice of mackerel on your plate might be hiding a reservoir of mercury? Deep within that savory flesh lies the consequence of a long chain of bioaccumulation passed on from one tiny prey to the next. Eat it too often, especially king mackerel, and you may silently cross the threshold of safe consumption, with no symptoms, no warning signs. Yet, despite the warnings, the journey of bringing mackerel from the deep sea to the dinner table shows no signs of slowing down. Humans continue to pursue this high-speed fish across shifting currents and the last pockets of cold water in an ever-warming ocean, fueling a year-round global hunt. And every journey has a beginning. Join me as we set sail for the Atlantic, where specialized fishing fleets power through the waves, launching an epic chase called Mackerel. From May to October, the ocean enters its golden season. Shifting currents push young sardines, shrimp, and squid toward the surface, drawing in the shimmering silhouettes of mackerel, the speed hunters of the deep. In this modern hunt, no method is more effective or spectacular than the purse seine, a massive net, hundreds of meters long, dropped into the water to form a tightening arc, a near-invisible trap in the open sea. Speed is critical. The faster the net is cinched, the slimmer the chance of escape. As the final line pulls tight like a steel noose, tens of tons of glittering mackerel are captured in a writhing mass of silver beneath foaming waters. Giant cranes roar to life, lifting heavy hauls one after another into refrigerated holds kept near -20 degrees Celsius to lock in freshness. In less than 30 minutes, a single haul can bring in over 200 tons, an amount that once took an entire coastal village weeks to gather. It's not just a triumph of technology, but a relentless contest between humankind and the sea. But mackerel don't always gather in dense schools. When they scatter, dive deep, or swim to remote offshore waters, fishermen must change their strategy. Instead of chasing the crowd, they patiently wait for individual fish, using the longline method, an art that demands precision and persistence. Across the vast ocean surface, a main line stretching for dozens of kilometers is deployed, carrying thousands of dangling hooks, like invisible traps suspended in the deep. The bait is fresh squid, sardines, or shrimp, irresistible treats that trigger the mackerel's hunting instincts. When a fish bites, each glistening silver body is carefully hauled in, unhooked, and placed directly into chilled storage. No bruises, no scratches, preserving its ocean-fresh quality as if it had just left the sea. As soon as the boats dock, a portion of the mackerel is unloaded at the wholesale fish market, where lively auctions begin before dawn breaks through the mist. The rest heads straight to processing factories, flowing through a network of chilled pipelines running beneath the port like its very bloodstream. At the factory, mackerel are guided into an automated sorting system using stainless steel chutes. As the fish slide down, smaller ones fall through the gaps between the rails and are redirected to a separate processing line, primarily for canning. Larger fish remain on top and continue to subsequent stages, such as filleting, marinating, or being frozen whole for export. This system enables preliminary size-based sorting right from the intake, optimizing the production process, reducing the load on later stages, and improving overall processing efficiency. Right from the initial stage, the mackerel pre-processing line demonstrates near-perfect precision. While traditional manual methods of decapitation often result in millimeter-level errors, enough to tear the skin, lose valuable meat, and reduce product value, here, each mackerel is neatly placed into a shaped mold and precisely aligned using laser guidance with an error margin of less than 0.5 millimeters. This allows the blade to cut exactly at the junction between the head and body, producing a clean, sharp separation as if machine molded. The entire process operates at a speed of several hundred fish per minute, enabling the plant to handle tens of tons per shift while maintaining exceptional consistency and precision. Next, the fish body is immediately transferred to an automatic filleting system, where blades are programmed to optimize meat yield. No excess, no waste. For specimens with a fat content exceeding 20%, the system automatically divides them into 3 proportionate portions, maintaining both structure and richness, something nearly impossible to achieve by hand. Importantly, none of the removed parts, heads, guts, or backbones, are discarded. Instead, they are repurposed into raw material for aquaculture feed, creating a closed-loop system where no part of the mackerel goes to waste. Although mackerel is not known for having many fine bones, processing plants still carry out an additional bone removal step after filleting to ensure top quality. In many facilities, this task is still done manually under intense white lighting. The fillets are placed on chilled stainless steel tables, where workers use specialized steel tweezers to carefully extract even the smallest bones, as leaving just one could result in the entire batch being rejected in strict markets like Japan or the EU. However, in modern factories, this step has been replaced by dedicated pin bone removal machines. The fish meat is passed through mechanical rollers that apply just the right amount of pressure, enough to dislodge the bones without damaging the flesh. After bone removal, the mackerel fillets are given a final rinse, neatly arranged, and moved to the light salting stage, a key step to stabilize the flesh structure and extend shelf life. First, the fillets pass through an artificial cold rain system, a chilled water spray that provides preliminary rinsing, removes surface protein residues, and cools the fillets before salting. Next, a low-concentration brine spray, 2–3%, is applied. This salt layer isn't meant to make the fillets noticeably salty, but is just enough to firm the muscle fibers, neutralize mild fishy odors, stabilize flesh color, and create a natural biofilm that helps retain freshness during freezing. Each fillet is then precisely placed onto stainless steel trays, with spacing calculated down to the millimeter to ensure even cold air circulation. This arrangement prevents sticking, warping, or deformation during freezing. Finally, the trays are transferred into a blast freezer, where the temperature drops rapidly to -35 to 40 degrees Celsius, combined with strong, cold airflow. Within minutes, each fillet reaches an ideal, deep frozen state, firm, evenly colored, and ready for packaging. However, not all mackerel is destined for frozen packaging. A portion continues its journey to a more specialized production line, where the fillets are transformed into the famous teriyaki grilled mackerel. On the teriyaki grilling line, filleted mackerel portions are neatly arranged on stainless steel conveyor belts and slowly pass through a modern roasting chamber. Instead of using direct flames, superheated steam at around 300 degrees Celsius is circulated through the chamber, allowing the fish to cook evenly from the inside out without drying the surface. After the initial roasting, the fillets move on to an automatic teriyaki sauce application system. Here, a sauce made from Japanese soy sauce, mirin, sugar, and ginger extract is evenly sprayed onto both sides of the fish. Rather than marinating in advance, the sauce is applied near the end of cooking, a technique that helps it cling tightly to the surface, forming a glossy caramelized layer when the fillets return to the roasting chamber for a final round. If salted mackerel represents the traditional flavor of the sea, then canned mackerel is a modern evolution, compact, sustainable, and ready to conquer global markets. The process begins with medium to large-sized mackerel, which are cut into segments measuring 6 to 10 centimeters in length, matching the standard height of each can. A stainless steel blade is precisely positioned over the conveyor belt, lowering at regular intervals like a metronome, slicing the fish into clean, uniform sections with millimeter-level accuracy. After the pre-processing stage, fresh, fatty mackerel portions are transferred to the canning area. Depending on their size, each can holds 1 to 3 pieces, neatly arranged either vertically or horizontally to optimize space and minimize shifting during cooking. Once arranged, the cans automatically move to the liquid filling system. The filling nozzles move in a steady, rhythmic motion, dispensing a smooth, glossy stream of liquid into each can of mackerel as it moves along the conveyor belt, just enough to fully cover the fish without overflowing. Depending on the product type, this liquid may be vegetable oil, light brine, tomato sauce, or a specialty blend such as teriyaki or a thick, chocolate-colored brown sauce. Despite their different formulations, these liquids share a common purpose: to act as a natural preservative while infusing the fish with flavor during the high-pressure sterilization process, enhancing both the taste and texture of the final product. After being filled with sauce or vegetable oil, the mackerel cans move on to a critical stage: cooking and sterilization inside a large industrial retort. Inside, the temperature reaches 121 degrees Celsius, with pressure levels so high that the cans could deform if not precisely controlled. Over 45 to 60 minutes, the fish is fully cooked inside the sealed container. The flesh becomes tender, the flavor penetrates deeply, and all bacteria and spores are effectively eliminated, allowing the product to be safely preserved for long periods without the need for artificial preservatives.